Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of Photographer's Favorites, the show where I pick 5 of my favorite photos from other photographers, and my guest picks 5 of their favorite photos from other photographers, and we show them and share them and talk about everything we love about them. So today I'm really excited to have Christopher Smith with me. How's it going, Chris?
I'm going good.
Nice.
Good to be here. Yeah, thanks
Yeah,
for having
thanks. I'm happy to have you, man. I really appreciate you setting aside the time, and you picked some great images. I got a chance to kind of quickly look at them, so I'm excited to chat about some of these. Have you been up to any good photography lately?
Yeah, I recently took a trip down to San Diego. Got some
Nice.
lease turns, elegant turns, clapper rails,
Nice, man.
just a bunch of fun species.
Those rails are tough, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they're like 1 second they're out of the marsh, next second they're in it.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, you hear them constantly. It's like they're taunting you, and then you like barely ever see them. They're like ghosts, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
it certainly is. But it's great when you do finally get a shot. Dude, I
oh
love
yeah,
this image, man. That
yeah.
sky is
Thanks so much.
insane.
Yeah, thanks so
Yeah.
much, man.
Yeah. What were you shooting that with a wider lens, or was it just really far and so even with
Um,
the telephoto?
I think that might have been just 200 millimeters.
Sweet.
Yeah, just like higher f-stop, kind
Yeah.
of those clouds and rays and stuff.
That's
So
so cool, man. Yeah, and I love that it's diving right there. Like it's not
yeah,
just gliding through, which would have been nice anyway, but that dive position
yeah,
that
for sure.
makes it like a little next level, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, excellent stuff, man. All right, so you ready to get into the show?
yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. All right, here we go. All right, we'll start off with one you chose, one from my good friend Josh. This is awesome, man. Talk about a dramatic photo. This thing is like insane. I love these spotlight effects.
Yeah.
And this one's really interesting. Like the more I look at it, like just the real subtle sky that's showing through there. It's amazing how dark that sky is with the intense spotlight that he's got on that. So you can tell it's just shooting through so much stuff there that it just darkened everything else down. And
Mhm.
I mean, like full on perfect eye contact. I love the composition where he left it a little bit smaller in the frame. And this is one of those images where I feel like if it wasn't for that spotlight effect, all of the stuff around this is probably so busy. Like if this was like flat
Oh
overcast
yeah,
light, you know what I mean? Like it'd probably
yeah,
just be
for
a
sure.
hot mess of a photo. But because this has that spotlight effect, it really worked.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. I really liked the textures as well.
Yeah.
Um, kind of in the background, kind of yeah. I totally think if it was like different lighting, it just wouldn't work at all. But yeah, that dapple light just makes it perfect.
Yeah, it really does. It's a great point you just brought up the textures back there, right? Because with the shot like this, I think it's so easy to in post just like black out everything, just make it
Oh
solid black.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But he chose to leave some of the indication of like the thick, kind of dense, almost messy habitat that this bird is, hidden in.
hmm yeah,
Yeah, it
hundred
works.
percent.
It works really well. And then I love this, right? With the photos like this where you just spend more time with them. Like I love just how the foot slid up right there. Like you can
Yeah.
see the foot, like the talons just kind of wrapped around that branch. Like that's a nice little touch right there too.
hmm
Excellent. All right, here we go. We'll move on to the next shot. Here's one I picked. What do you
Oh
think of
man,
that one?
that's insane.
Yeah.
I just love those leaves on the ground and then that just insane sky in the background.
Yeah.
Um, love the way the raccoons kind of just coming around the tree, kind of sniffing around.
Yep.
Um, I really like the way the trees kind of in the background um, kind of frame the insane clouds. Yeah, just crazy shot. Camera trap shots are always awesome.
Yeah. They seem. Is that something you've ever tried yourself?
No, I
Me
really
neither.
wanted to try it.
Yeah.
One of my dream shots is like a insane black rail coming through
Oh, nice. Yeah.
marshland.
Oh,
But
you're starting off small, huh?
yeah, yeah. But I definitely want to get into it. Sounds super fun. Very time consuming though.
Yes, that's the deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree with everything you said on this shot. I also love how it's autumn and the colors of the leaves kind of mimic the color in the sky
hmm
there. I think that's such a nice touch.
Oh yeah.
And this is another one where it's black back there, but we can still see some of the textures and details.
Yep.
So it's not just a solid black background. That sky is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I kind of like how there's no eye contact from the raccoon there. It's kind of looking just a little off camera, so it just really looks like it's a natural moment caught on
Yeah,
camera. You know what I mean?
yeah, it just feels super like undisturbed,
Exactly.
natural
Yeah, because
behavior.
I've seen some, and they're great shots. I've seen some camera traps where, obviously it's maybe like the second or third shot in a series. And so it got the animal's attention from the flash firing or whatever. And they're looking like directly at it. And it's pretty cool to get that eye contact, but it's a different feel to the
Yeah.
photo. Whereas this feels like just a moment in this animal's life, as it's just,
Mhm.
like you said, sneaking and sniffing around there. So it's a really cool vibe to the shot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't,
and as you mentioned, the eye contact shots, sometimes their eyes are just like bulging out of their head.
yeah, totally right. Yeah,
Yeah.
which makes sense, right? They're like, "What on earth is going on here?" All freaked out with a flash in the middle of the forest,
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
totally makes sense. But, yeah, and I mean, impressive to get that balance too. The balance between
Oh yeah,
subject and background. I mean,
for sure.
that's hard enough to do when you're there actually manipulating everything. You know what I mean? Let
Yeah.
alone if you had, it's all preset and it just had to fire and work correctly when he wasn't there, since it's a camera
Yeah.
trap thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, just
and this guy,
insane shot.
yeah, he does a ton of really good stuff with that. So all right, let's see what we got next. Oh, nice, dude. I love when you pick this one. So I simultaneously love this photo and am horribly jealous of it because I shot the same species um, up there at the same time. I was in a different area, but I was all happy with mine. It had these great mountains in the background, but mine was like kind of a little getting on the verge of strong sun, and it still
Yeah.
works. And then Cam goes and drops this photo. I'm like, "Ugh, whatever. Now I can't share mine. I got to wait for like 5 months now before, so it doesn't look, yeah, nobody compares
Yeah.
it to this one because this one's so much better. Um, I mean, just a gorgeous scene all around.
Yeah.
Beautiful striking bird, great use of foreground to really bring in the isolation there,
Mhm.
and then that mountain range in the background with just those dusk colors going on in there. I think it was dusk. He said, I don't know if it was dusk or dawn. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
2 a.m. So yeah,
Holy cow.
it's the same, right? It's all it's all the
Yeah.
same up there. Um, but yeah, just a great use of space in the shot.
Yeah.
Flat out. There's nothing else in focus other than the bird and maybe just a little bit of the mound there. But
Mhm.
that's where I think like this dipping down and using that foreground really helps pop that bird because I feel like if he was just standing up higher and we had
Oh
all
yeah.
of whatever this was standing on in focus, it would
It would
distract
probably
from
distract.
bird a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So, but yeah, those colors are nuts, man.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you said. That foreground, yeah, it'd probably be pretty messy and distracting without it. And I think it kind of, focuses on the bird and the mountain as well.
It
So
definitely
yeah.
does. And the slope of that foreground where it just dips
Oh
right at the
yeah.
bird there, I mean,
Yeah.
that's nice right there.
Oh
And
yeah.
then even if we go back to like the mountain range, right, they're kind of just angled in, dipping right there. There's almost like an imaginary line that just leads you
Mm.
right down to the bird. There's just so much working well. And how nice that the snow didn't come any lower.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Because if it
Yeah.
was all this texture back there, that again would be a little bit distracting on the black and white background with the dark and light, I should say, against the black and white bird would probably be a little visually like messy. But then it's just super clean right at where the bird is. It's so nice.
Yeah. I mean, it would definitely distract if all that white texture was behind the bird.
Yep.
So yeah, just great image overall.
Yeah, it really is. So jealous of Cam.
Yeah, I would be too. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I just love that wing pose of it just coming right in, just perfectly symmetrical.
Yep.
Um, that background too. Oh my gosh, it's like autumn, but also just sunset
Yep.
or sunrise at the same time. Um, just love the fact that the bird is in the shade because I feel like if it
Hmm.
was the bird was also in that light, it would kind of just blend right in.
Yeah.
Um, just yeah, wow, that's crazy. And I love the plumage too. I like the kind of younger eagle plumage. I think is that
Yep.
a whitetail or a
It
bald
is
eagle?
whitetail. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah, just insane.
Yeah.
So
Or I assume it's a whitetail. I don't know if he has a
mm,
tag, but I
I
mean,
think it is because it's
yeah, it's over in Europe. So
European.
yep, exactly.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, you know what, man? Completely agree with everything you said. I love that you pointed out how the bird would probably really blend in with that background if it was lit with the sun, and completely agree with that, right? Because then it would take on that same golden color,
Yeah.
and you'd have the depth of field that would help it stand out, but it wouldn't stand out like it does with this dark bird on
Yeah.
that brighter, vivid color background. And
Hmm.
I mean, if we look at the bird, it almost looks like it's colorless, but it's not. There's brown tones in there. You can see the yellow on the feet and stuff like that. So it's got
Hmm.
color in it, but um, it just almost looks like a black and white against that insanely colored background. And I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you really can't beat that pose. Like the
Yeah.
wingtips, all the primaries are spread out like flawlessly there. It's like so
Yeah.
symmetrical.
It's like perfect.
It really is. That's one of those shots where I feel like you could split it down the middle, flip that sucker halfway, and it'd probably still look
Hmm.
almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff, man.
And that gaze too.
Yeah, that head on stare is really nice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next thing is the talons come out and attack you. Like that's the next thing.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
ever try to seek out and shoot this style of lighting where subjects in shade backgrounds getting a little bit of that early glow or late glow?
I've tried it, but it's just really difficult. It's
It
really
is.
hard to do sometimes.
Yeah.
It's definitely a concept I've played with though, because yeah, if you get those tones, they kind of
Yep.
blend, the bird blends to the background. But it's definitely a really neat effect that I've tried before.
Yeah.
Haven't successfully done it yet, but with waterfowl season approaching, I'm probably
There
gonna
you
try
go.
that some more with the
Nice.
autumn colors. So
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, and it's such. I find it's such a short window of time where
oh yeah,
you get that glow in the background and you can still get exposure on the subject. Because, like, I don't know, I'm gonna guess if this was morning, let's say, 15 minutes later, the sun's so much stronger on that background.
yeah,
A, you lose that golden color, and then B, the exposure difference between the subject and the background becomes almost impossible to get that exposure on the bird and in the background. So
hmm,
it's just such a small window of opportunity on to get those shots that I find it always incredibly challenging.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, dude. Yeah, picking another insanely gorgeous scene, man. Beautiful image from Caleb. I mean, one of those shots that, like, this shot on its own without the outlet in there is just a beautiful scene. Just like
Oh
this
yeah.
beautiful scene with the colors, the soft light, a little bit of reflection from the sun in the background down here in the creek. You just get the sense of like a peaceful, quiet creek, the palms coming over the top there. And then, bam, on top of that, add in like this barred outlet, and it's just over the top. A
Hmm.
gorgeous scene. I know he
Yeah.
spent a ton of time working with these birds, gaining their trust, letting them get used to him so he could go in and shoot
Hmm.
this type of wide angle thing. Um, and and just kudos to him, or to any photographer too, that puts down that telephoto lens and picks up a wider lens to capture that scene. Because
Yeah.
I mean, how many of us would just love to have that frame filling opportunity, of a little barred outlet sitting eye level or even below, it looks like in this circumstance. Yeah, and we'd just be lighting it up, headshots and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And completely missing this gorgeous scene around it.
Yeah. This absolutely insane
Yeah.
scene. I mean,
Yeah.
one thing Caleb said was this is not actually an outlet, it's actually a plush. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
That's great.
Um,
Oh, man.
but yeah, I totally agree. The scene is just crazy. It's kind of something I've never seen before. Just in this little kind of neat forest.
Yep.
Just- yeah, just crazy.
The green is a nice touch, like that vibrant
Yeah.
green. I
Hmm.
really like how it pops out, and it
Yeah.
almost makes, like, there's an obvious subject here. When you first look at it, it's like outlet. Like your eye goes right to that outlet, and it's lighter. Which is great, so it stands out like that. But
Hmm.
spending more time with it, the scene is a secondary subject here, and
Yeah.
almost of equal value to the bird. Because like just those vibrant greens, just the way the lines are. The way the river kind of streams back here. You got lots of angles. This angles in, palms framing over the top. I mean, it's like,
Hmm.
how much more could come together for you?
Yeah. I mean, another thing is the owl just stands out so well too. Just
Yes.
that kind of beige tone.
Yep.
on those greens.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
the face is kind of funny. It looks like he's like, "What are you doing here? Why are you so close to
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. It looks curious, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like there's any fear or anything like
me?" Yeah.
that. Obviously, this thing is pretty tolerant of him at that point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
After I'm sure he spent enough, probably weeks or who knows how long.
Yeah, he spent so much time.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of the thing that's required to do that sort of thing and get these shots and to even have the vision to be able to see to capture something like that. So, man,
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome. Just reading the caption: "Crawl through the water to get close enough for the wide angle." Nice. So he put in the effort, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Oh man.
mixing it up.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I saw this on the Audubon
Yep.
award. Wasn't it an honorable mention
It
in the
was.
amateur?
Yes. Yep.
All right, yeah. I just love those two feathers flying out to
Yeah.
the side.
Yeah.
That's like so cool. I actually went to this location. I know where this was taken.
Oh, nice.
It's a pretty well-known peregrine
Yeah.
nesting site. But it's just insane to see one take down an acorn woodpecker.
I know.
I feel like I've never seen one um, like do that, like image wise. I feel like I've never seen an image like that.
Yep.
Um, love the feathers in the beak.
Yeah.
Um, just yeah, those textures of the cliff as well.
Yeah.
Um, such an awesome bird. Yeah,
Yeah, they
just
are.
crazy.
Yeah, they definitely are. The feathers make it. I mean,
Yeah,
those feathers up in the air, like
100%.
that's the image,
Yeah.
If without that, solid portrait, great behavioral shot, but that is just that
Hmm.
it's funny how it just can be those unbelievably, for all intents and purposes, tiny details that make an image just stand out amongst the rest. Because
Hmm.
how many shots before, how many shots after, where the bird's like working on feeding this thing on this woodpecker and stuff like that, and it's all cool behavioral shots, but having those feathers floating there, just
Yeah, those
suspended in
feathers.
midair, yeah. And then I mean, thankfully, sweet light on it. Great textured
Mhm.
background. The colors in the background really complement the plumage of the bird. So it's funny. I feel like you have like on the bird, you got the warm tones and then the cooler, almost grayish,
Mhm.
bluish back, and same here on the cliff, right? The warmer tones here,
Yeah,
cooler blue back there. So the colors really work. And then,
yeah,
uh, I mean, how cool that's an acorn woodpecker. I mean, I feel bad for the woodpecker, but that that
yeah.
classic, obvious identification, right? You don't have to question
Mhm.
like, oh, what is that? I mean, it's painfully obvious what it is right off the
Yeah.
bat.
I mean, and you can even see there's a bit of blood, I think, on the feathers that are floating. There's like a red
Yes.
speck.
Yep.
That's
Yep. Right.
crazy.
Right in there and there. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. That's. I mean, that had to be wild to sit there and watch.
Oh yeah, I mean, so gnarly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Exactly. I think many of us. I know there's probably a lot of people that would shy away from photographing a predator with prey like that. But I
Mhm.
know there's probably a lot of us that are just kind of like you recognize like oh, you feel horrible for the bird that's getting, but how
Yeah.
this is how they have to live, right? And
Yeah.
how incredible it is to be able to witness that natural behavior and
Hmm.
document it is a pretty cool thing. I know I've been
Hmm.
guilty of being out there and shooting birds with prey and just being like, oh, look at it, oh, but you're shooting the whole time,
Yeah. Yeah. No, watching birds pull out the guts and
It
eating
can
them
get
is
gruesome.
it's gruesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Uh,
that's, what? That's another nice thing. Like, yes, there's a little bit of blood there, but nothing is over the top. So to
yeah. It's
me,
not like.
anyway, it's not an overly gruesome photo. It's not like the peregrine sitting there with the
Mhm.
woodpecker's head in its beak or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's probably moments that were most likely more
Oh yeah.
gruesome. But this shows the behavior without being over the top with it, which I think is another nice
Hmm.
touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy image.
Yeah, it is. Dude, I love this. It's funny. I recorded another episode of the show yesterday
Uh huh.
and had a shot, not this shot, but a very similar, same kind of vibe. And it's just such a concept and technique that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And also recognize how unbelievably difficult it is to get to focus on something that's flying
Hmm.
through all the foreground that you're shooting. It's
Yeah.
just not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, kudos to Oliver on this one.
Hmm.
The tones, the warm blue, the sunset, I'm guessing,
Hmm.
tones like that, and No caption. I'm too tired. This is a chimney swift. Great. I like that. At chimney swifts, I mean, come on, like insanely fast,
Oh yeah, so
like
fast.
crazy and erratic flying. So it's just such a great concept, man. I mean, how much simpler is it to stand out in the open and try and photograph this bird flying around
Oh
against a
yeah.
pretty sky? You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's probably the default for most people. But for
Yeah.
the photographer to think, you know what? No, I'm going to make it way more challenging on myself. And then thankfully they did because they got the reward of this
Yeah.
incredible shot.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried mimicking this or just trying to get a similar image. It's hard.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're so fast. I think he even used manual focus. I think he just pre-focused
Gotcha.
and then waited for it to come in front and then just
Wow.
shot, which is like just insane. Like
Yeah.
it's so hard to do that. Um, Especially with how quick your shutter speed has to be in that kind of low light. I think the
You're
sun is
right.
kind of with the tones, I think the sun is setting.
Totally.
Uh, so yeah, just super hard, super neat image. Yeah, I really like that bokeh. That bokeh
Yeah.
is insane. Um, Not much, or there's a bit of texture in the bokeh, but yeah, just really cool.
Yep. Yeah, and nice job. I mean, it feels like it's just the right amount. Any further
Hmm.
away, it's all going to start
Yeah,
getting smaller, going to be harder to see through there. Any closer, then all those bokeh balls become so big, and they actually are probably going to start bleeding over into the bird and stuff like that. So it looks like he nailed that foreground distance to get things just right there.
yeah, really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it really is. I love how this it's so much more, and I know the word is kind of overused with photos, but it's so much more artistic to me.
Hmm.
It's just it takes on an entirely different feel and look to the photo because of shooting through that stuff. And that's something I definitely have been exploring more and more in my own photography is just shooting through stuff to see what happens. And I mean,
Hmm.
half the time you miss focus, the other half of the time you're too close to the stuff and everything is just blurred over
Yeah,
everything, nothing looks sharp, and it's not easy at all, but when it does work, man, it's a great look in
yeah,
my
it's
opinion.
super awesome.
Man,
I also love the color contrast between the blues and um,
totally.
yeah, that warm um,
Yep.
sunset color.
Yeah, the cool warm color tone combo just is always you can't lose.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I really love the lines of all the little sticks that kind of go up.
Yeah.
Really love that darker tone. I love all of his images. They're all
I know.
awesome. Um, just that texture on that tree frog. What species
Yep.
is that?
Great tree frog.
Great
Yep.
tree frog. Just awesome. That eye, really crazy.
Yeah.
Um, just feels like natural. Just like that's like how it is. Just kind of day to day. Just sitting on that little branch,
Yep.
waiting for prey or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, that mood is just awesome. Um, yeah, really neat image.
Yeah, I think the word you used is a word I would describe so many of Matt's photos, which is moody. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
all his images have such a great mood. His use of lighting is just impeccable. It
Yeah.
really is. And I have the privilege of being able to talk to him quite often, just in
Hmm.
some chats and stuff like that. And he's one of those photographers that is like just always pushing himself, always so hard on
Yeah.
himself, always self-critiquing, always working to grow and
Hmm.
just get better and better. And I mean, he sends me images all the time like, dude, these are amazing. He's like, meh, like he just doesn't he doesn't see how amazing they are sometimes. And I know he does, he can recognize when he takes a really good photo
Yeah.
and he's happy with, but what he's happy with compared to what I think the viewers of his photo are amazed with don't really sync up, which is
Hmm.
it's kind of hilarious to me. Um,
Hmm.
agree with everything you said. One of the things that also really stood out to me on this one is it goes against how I feel like I would tend to compose an image. Um, because this is kind of angling out on this side and the frog is almost looking this way and he placed it on the right.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It almost feels like it's kind of looking out of the frame, but it
Hmm.
isn't really. And it works so good because of all these other lines.
Yeah.
And I just can't help but think like, I don't know if I would have placed it on that side or the other side. Uh,
Yeah.
because that's
That's
like so my go-to thing is always put space in front of whichever direction it feels like they're looking.
mhm,
But I think this was the absolute right choice on this because it
mhm.
just it feels so well balanced and all those lines work so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like most people would just compose it on the left side,
Yep.
definitely. But I think it really worked in this instance,
Yeah.
as you said, with all those lines of the green foliage.
Yep.
Um, yeah, just really cool image.
Yeah, definitely. Look at this from Addy. Nice, man. Incredible tones. Getting into that blue and warm, yellow orange color palette again.
Mhm.
Taking advantage of an urban setting to create and introduce some beautiful background to it. So, to me, these kinds of shots do two things. One, it it kind of teaches an audience, like the viewers, of where these birds are living, that they are
Mhm.
near an urban environment, right? It brings in that human element to the photos,
Yeah,
but it does so in an absolutely gorgeous way that's not in your face human. It's not in your face like, here's a building in the background, here's a fence,
yeah,
here's a bridge. It's just it's a subtle element that adds to the photo, in my opinion.
yeah,
I love the look of these, but there's more to it than just here's pretty lights in the background. There's the story that
Mhm.
these birds are trying to survive in an area that probably has, as he's mentioning, right, all of this crazy stuff that goes on along this in this area where these birds live. And I just pretty intense when you read the caption. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, and the birds are just out there trying to survive.
Yeah, I mean, I think those, lights, like, I mean, just adds so much to the image. I really like how the kind of darker reeds kind of fade up into the lighter sky color.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, just insane. That bokeh city light effect is something that's really, really nice, and to see it with a flight shot is pretty
Well,
insane to me.
that's another good point there. Yeah, that's a technical achievement right there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
he said he was kind of experimenting with high ISOs, and I think it really paid off in this
Yep.
instance because I mean you can tell by the mood it's pretty dark,
Oh yeah.
dark time period. So yeah.
Yeah, and a turn in flight, like these things are another
Mhm.
bird, right? Like
Oh yeah.
usually incredibly erratic. It's not like they're slow, just floating along, gliding along birds. Like they're
Mhm.
moving. So just to be able to achieve focus in that amount of light is an achievement. Um, and
Yeah.
then to be able to just yay for the cameras these days and the software that can
Oh yeah.
handle cleaning up or just
Oh yeah.
producing clean images at these ISOs that still actually have detail and color and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's a great reminder to not just pack up and leave when the sun sets.
Mhm.
It can pay off so well if you just stay and work, and not every time, of course. Sometimes
Yeah.
there's just
Yeah.
the activity dies, or sometimes it is just too dark to focus and get a shot. But sometimes when it works out, man, it's so worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Another great example of the composition feeling like I would probably instinctually do it different, but I'm glad he did it this way. Because again, the bird's like slightly looking off this way, and so I feel like my instinct is to always put more space on this side. But
Mhm.
I think having these lights in here
Yeah.
balances it out, so well, it fills that space, and there's a reason to have it kind of composed that way. You
Yeah.
know?
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Last image.
Oh, that's yeah. Another awesome example of sky.
Yeah.
Just crazy, insane light. I can't really tell if those are like storm clouds or what, because they look like really dramatic, but
Yep.
I'm wondering if it was just the way the light was hitting it.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know.
but yeah,
Oh, he
just
does say a
really,
clearing storm at sunset in the caption. Yep.
okay. Yeah. So just really insane. Love the way the buck stands out against it,
Yeah.
because you got that foliage kind of lining up. And I feel like that slant kind of leads up to the buck and
Totally.
then just the clouds slanting back down again towards him.
Yep.
Um, Love the way he like intersects with that cloud, but it's not like super dark.
Yes.
So he kind of intersects with the light part.
You're right.
Um, yeah, just stands out really well. Just insanely beautiful light again. Yeah.
Yeah, there's this overall pattern of like a zigzag that I see, right? So there's
Hmm.
obvious line here, And then if we go softer, but there's another obvious line there, and it all is just kind of taking you back and forth through the image, but all kind of leading you right into where the buck is there. And exactly like you said, right? The fact that it's in the lightest part of the background, boom, your eye goes right to it. It really does, Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible, man. Those stormy skies are, man, I've been out and you see that storm clearing and the sky gets that way and you're like, give me anything. I will take
Yeah.
any subject, any bird. I don't care. It can be the most common thing that I can't stand photographing. I will take it in this light,
Yeah.
Yeah. And usually there's nothing around. Usually I'm just
Yeah.
standing there like, well, I'll take this pretty like scenic of it, Let me grab
Yeah.
a shot with my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice, man. We did it. That's the show.
All
Excellent.
right.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining, man. So do you have any plans, any shooting plans coming up? Anything
Um,
just locally or going on any trips coming up in the near future? What's going up for you?
yeah, so Fresno during this time is like, which is where I live,
Okay.
Central California, so hot. It's like
Oh,
105 to 110, just terrible every
that's
day.
brutal, dude.
Yeah, it's hard to survive. So probably not much here, but
Yeah.
I think the weekend we're actually going down Southern California again to do a grunion run, which is kind of basically during the I think it's new moon. They
Uh-huh.
come up to breed on the shore. Then you just pick them up and then just throw them in a bucket and then take them
Yeah.
home and make like tacos and stuff.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
maybe try and get a shot because I think there's like snowy egrets and stuff that feed on them, but it
You would assume
happens during
something,
the
right?
night. So I kind of want to do like a motion blur shot where you've got like, these egrets just running around crazy. Um,
That sounds
just
really cool. Sorry, I talked over you when you said that. You said it happens when?
I think during a new moon,
Uh-huh.
I believe.
Did you say it
Full
happens at
moon.
night though? Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah, night.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Cool. That's that's got potential, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe even just using like a flash so you get, that
Yeah.
blur, and then just have that, frozen in place.
Oh, that's
But
exciting, man. That'll be
I don't
worth
know. Yeah.
worth experimenting with, right? See what you come up
Yeah,
with.
for sure.
Oh, that's really cool, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of that, if anything.
Yeah.
Nice,
So
dude.
we'll see.
All right. Cool. Well, thanks again for joining, man. I really
Mhm.
appreciate it. And yeah, keep getting out there and shooting. I love seeing you young guys getting out there, getting all these amazing images, man. It's
Yeah.
really
Thanks so
inspiring.
much.
So yeah. All right, guys. Thank you everybody for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm going to keep these coming as regularly as I can. So we should see another one next Saturday. I'll see you guys then.